we know that these plants are living organisms, and as they are living organisms, they show growth, right? But why they grow only in upward direction? Why they don't grow in any other direction? Why this falling of leaves takes place? How it takes place? How the formation of fruit takes place? How this flowering takes place? All this we will see in this video, so be with us and we will start the video. Namaskar and welcome to Gyan Yatri Rupraj. So today we are going to start this coordination, control and coordination in plants. So in previous video we have discussed about the animals. There we have seen the nervous system and hormonal system comes into the action for controlling and coordination. Here in plants, what happened? We can find movements, control and coordination through the movements, different movements. Yes. So this, when we say about these movements, this movement is classified in two categories. One we called as Nastic movement, and another we called it as Trophic movement. So Nastic movement and Trophic movement. So this Nastic movement is generally independent to growth, or else we can say it's not dependent on the growth. Means the movement, whatever movement we will see, we will not see as per the growth, the movement for the growth. But this Trophic movement is dependent on growth, right? So Trophic movement is dependent on growth, whereas this Nastic movement is not dependent on growth, right? That examples we will see. If we see in this, the growth is occurring, so growth is happening in directional. As we have said, the plant is always growing in upward direction. So direction, the growth is happening. Plant is growing, right? So direction is happening. That's why it is directional. This type of movement is directional. Directional means it has a direction, but it is non-directional. It doesn't have any direction, right? So we can see these two types of movement. Nastic movement. Nastic movement, we can find examples: touch me not plant or chew me plant. Touch me not plant and chew me plant. This touch me not plant, whenever if we will touch this plant, the leaves, it will close, right? We have observed that one, that type of plant. So these plants, when we touch it, the leaves, it will close, as because the water movement comes out of the leaves, and then again when it has to be open up, then the water flows inside the leaves, right? So this is non-directional. So this is what non-directional we find in the Nastic movement. The Trophic movement, it has to discuss in elaborate way because it is directional and growth dependent. So there are different types of Trophic movement we can find. First we am considering Phototropism, then Geotropism, then chemotropism, and then hydropism. Now we will see one by one what are this. So just rub this one. Phototropism, this is of two types. One is positive phototropism, and another one is negative phototropism. So let's observe this one with an example. we have seen that phototropism, which is sunlight, sun, right? Photo means light and tropism means the directional growth. So this positive phototropism where the stem is going towards this light, right? So that is we call positive phototropism. And the roots always moves away from the light. It is going inside of the soil, right? That is which we call negative phototropism, right? Now we will see the geotropism. This geotropism is also, if we see, it is also same like phototropism. Geo means gravity. Geo means gravity. Gravity is if it will act the growth of the movement of the plants, we will see as per the gravity. So if the plant will grow towards the gravity, then it will be positive phototropism. If it will move towards the gravity, it will be positive phototropism. This is we find in the roots. Whereas in negative geotropism, it will go away from the gravity, right? And this is we find in the shoot. And let's see the example for this also. Seen the examples of phototropism also, geotropism also. What is chemotropism? Chemo means chemical. Chemo means chemical. When the movement will be according to the as per to the chemicals or towards the chemicals, right? So this generally we find example in growth of pollen tube. Growth of pollen tube. Now this about pollen tube you will learn in the next chapter. The pollen grains, when it lands on the stigma, due to the chemical secretion of the chemical, the growth happens, right? So from the stigma, from the female reproductive part, when the chemical release, this male reproductive part one shows growth, right? So this pollen tube shows growth on the basis of chemicals. That's why this type of movement we called it as chemotropism. Then the next one is hydrotropism. Hydro, you know, water, right? It is water. So the movement based on the water. So we can find the movement of based on the water. Which one is that? The roots. The roots grow deeper into the soil as wherever they get the water, right? So these are the different types of tropic movements, which is directional, and in every cases we have seen that directional also, right? Now we will see the phytohormones. Phyto means plant, and the hormones, which is we know the chemical messenger. So the plant which release the hormone, we called it as phytohormone, or we can also say as plant hormones. So this, like in animals also, in plants also, this hormones are working for the control and coordination. Yes, control and coordination. So these plant hormones are divided into, actually it is divided into two categories. One we called it as plant regulator hormone. Plant regulator hormones, right? Another we called it as plant inhibitor hormone. So this plant regulator which regulates the growth, right? So these are these three types: auxin, gibberellin and cytokinin, right? The inhibitor which stops the growth, because always if growth will take place, something should be there to stop the growth also. So this abscisic acid and ethylene is working as inhibitor, which is stopping the growth also. if it will excess growth, then it will be, maybe the plants or trees will touch the sky. So there are inhibitor hormones also. So let's see the functions of these hormones. This auxin, they work for cell growth and elongation. So the auxins are generally present in the tips of the roots or the shoot, in the meristematic part, tip, right? Remember apical meristem, where we have already studied in class 9 about the apical meristem. So in the apical meristem, which is present in the tip of the root or the shoot, same, this hormones also present in that meristem only. So what it do, it elongate the cell, it grows the cell. Because of that, the plant, a small baby plant, if we put it, it will start growing and it becomes bigger and bigger and bigger, larger, right? So this auxin helps in the cell growth and the elongation of the cell. The gibberellin, they helps in growth of stems and branches. The stems becomes thicker, the branches comes out of the plant, right? Because in the small baby plant there is no branch, but when it grows bigger, it gets more branches. So this gibberellin comes into action for that, right? So this is the work of the gibberellin. In both cases we have seen how it is helping in the growth of the plant. The cytokinin, it helps in cell division. It helps in multiplying the cell, right? Numbers of cells get divided, right? So that when there will be more and more number of cells, the more and more growth we can find, the development we can find in the case of plant. Like this, it will control or coordinate in making the plant bigger, right? This cytokinin is also helpful in formation of fruits and seeds. It helps in formation of fruits and seeds also. So we have got the answer. It helps in the formation of fruits and seeds. So this is the function of the cytokinin. So we have seen all these three having the role in the growth. These two, abscisic acid and ethylene, it comes in inhibiting or stopping the growth of the plant. Let's see how it stop, what they do. Abscisic acid, what it do, due to the release of abscisic acid, the plant stop growing, inhibits growth. Plants stop growing, right? So it inhibits the growth, and plus it also helps in wilting of leaves, right? The falling down of the leaves from the plant when it gets older. So this thing happened because of the abscisic acid. Yes, abscisic acid release and it make it older, and then it wilt out or fall out from the plant. Yeah, ethylene, it helpful in flowering, and along with that, this helps in ripening fruits. So the fruits get ripened out. So ripening is process also where the further growth will not take place. So पक जाना, and पकने के बाद क्या होता है, सड़ जाना, right? So this is happening, ripening is happening because of the ethylene, flowering and as well as the ripening of fruits also. So we have seen these are the plant hormones which is doing action in the plant for growth and regulation, right? And even the movements also, there also we have seen how it is controlling and coordinating for the plants, right? So all these things is there in the control and coordination, and with this we are completing the chapter. So thank you, do watch, subscribe, please, and comment whatever you want to know. You can comment if you have any queries, anything you want to know, you can you can ask me, right? I will try to sort it out, solve your queries. See, science is about questions, right? So bring your question and I will try to solve for you. Thank you. Namaskar.